Testing.
Good evening. Today is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. We are at the Green Ladle and we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance at 5:30 p.m. Councillor Harriman is absent excused this evening, so we'll start introductions with Member Gallant.
Donna Gallant, Ward 7.
Megan Hurd, Ward 6.
Ashley Medina, Ward 5.
Craig Charpentier, Ward 4.
Elizabeth Eames, Ward 3.
Janet Bowden, Ward 2.
Phoenix McLaughlin, Ward 1.
Megan Parks at large.
Jake Langley, Superintendent.
Karen Paquette, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3 is the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that members would like set aside? Seeing none, the consent agenda is adopted. Agenda item number 4 is public input. Members of the public may address the school committee for up to 3 minutes on non-agenda items now and on agenda items later. Comments that pertain to staff, personnel matters, or a student issue should be directed to the superintendent or the appropriate staff member of Lewiston Public Schools. Public comments shall be directed to the school committee and be brief, not repetitive, and related to the matter at hand. Before starting, please state your name, address, and affiliation to Lewiston Public Schools. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
Here again, voice isn't loud enough. Usually it's loud enough. I'm here again. I don't know. I'm really upset about the schools weren't like this when I was on school board. And I just think the school board is being too lenient on policies and things like that. And one of them is dress code. What I've seen at the school is very poor dressing. And if the teachers don't see them, they can't do anything. When I walk around the schools and see that, it's pretty thing. Another thing is hoodies. They should not be wearing hoodies. How can you see who did something when the cameras can't even tell? They can't even tell when somebody robs a bank and has a hoodie. And then now wear a mask. What are you guys doing? When I was on the school board, yeah, there were fights and something, but it wasn't like that. The teachers had ruled. And this is where we need to get back to. My suggestion is, first of all, we need a conversation in the community. We need to parent the parents. And we need a large conversation in the community to discuss what is going on, because your budget will not pass this year, I guarantee, with what is being said in the community and everything. We need to sit down and talk. We need to talk culture. Okay, I don't know. I worked with different cultures for over 10 years as a public health nurse. I was in their homes. I know what's going on. Parents need parenting. I would like to see you guys get in January, and I'm going to city council tomorrow because city council needs to be involved in all this. The city needs to be involved. We've got to stop what's going on. And we got to get the good news out, like McMahon School that got an award. That did not get in the paper. And McMahon School should have got it in the paper. I know the coordinator of that program, and they are doing a good job. So please, the good things need to get out. You guys need to do something and do something about the paper. I know the paper because they quoted me when I was on a school board wrong. And I got calls left and right. You need to stop being lenient with the students. The teachers have to stop being friends with the students. I talked to a couple of retired teachers just recently. I think some of the teachers need to listen to some of the retired teachers that we had in Lewiston and really listen to them, because they, like they said, I just talked to a couple of teachers. I know some of the young people might know them. Thank you. But anyway, something needs to be done.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Raymond. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Connors. I wanted to take a moment to address the most recent news cycle that's been circulating around our community. After reading articles posted on local news sites, reading comments in the online community spaces, and listening to public comments at recent meetings, I thought it was pertinent to come here to advocate on behalf of my students, my school community, and our greater community of Lewiston. Well, I want to first say I think it's so important to listen to teachers. I also want to remind our entire community that we are talking about children when we are centering these conversations. Children who come from a variety of backgrounds, experiences, and cultures, many of which may be different from our own lived experiences. These children achieve incredible things in our public schools on a daily basis. Most recently, 19 fourth and fifth grade girls at Connors completed a celebratory 5K at the end of their Girls on the Run season. One of our Lewiston girls was the last to cross the finish line, and our entire team met her and helped her cross the line with a smile on her face and girl power in her heart. When I read the comments about the downtown and how they are the roots of the problem in our communities and our school, what I am reading is our community engaging in racist, dehumanizing, and xenophobic behavior. In a world that is already divisive, we have the opportunity to make Lewiston a place where everyone is welcome, regardless of ethnicity, religion, socioeconomic status, national origin, or ancestry. The list goes on. We have the opportunity to make Lewiston a place where we seek to understand cultures different than our own, to recognize generational traumas and the need to ensure we have mental health supports and resources in our school, and a place where we recognize the importance of fully funding our public schools. As a collective community, we are better than this. We can do better than this. If you have concerns, thoughts, questions about what's happening in our schools, instead of getting online, consuming news articles, and jumping to conclusions about our students and our school communities, I encourage you to consider how you could more productively support them. Perhaps your local school needs volunteers or has an upcoming community event you can attend. Maybe they're in need of substitute teachers or donations for an upcoming field trip. Reach out and see how you can help. And when budget season rolls around, I hope you'll be here ready to support fully funding our public schools.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 5 to review and potentially vote on the second read of policies IJJE and IMDC.
So these two policies were on our agenda at our last meeting, and there's been no change since the first read for these two.
Member Hurd?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the second read of policies listed A and B.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. Agenda item number 6 is report from the school committee chair. Over the last week or so, I've received a lot of feedback from parents and teachers in the district regarding all of the conversations that have been had regarding Montello, but the conversations, what I've been receiving isn't exclusive to Montello. And so after some requests, I wanted to propose, so we have a policy regarding the school committee creating advisory committees, which we as the school committee and with the superintendent, we would set the charge, the time frame for the work to be done, and basically the topic. And then I would like to see this include parents, frontline teaching staff, and administration. And so I'd like to propose that we create a student discipline and learning environment advisory committee that could evaluate the discipline, the response to behaviors in our district-wide, the effectiveness of our response, and the impacts on the teaching staff and on students, other students learning. My understanding from reading the policy is this doesn't require a vote, but I was just hoping that I could get like a show of hands for who might be interested in us sort of talking this out with the superintendent and maybe creating this kind of a advisory committee. to get some feedback and to review, and then they would come back at whatever period of time we set and report on what their findings are and maybe give us some guidance on how we can move forward with some of these things. Does anyone have any opposition to that? Nope. And, all right, okay, thank you. That's all I have for report from the chair. The agenda item number 7 is report from the superintendent.
So lots of things going on, as you know. We are certainly spending some more time at Montello and facilitating some different supports, but I also want to report really two things. One, we have some areas that have to get better. We know that, and we're really detailing out what those pieces are and aligning resources for it. But also, there's a ton of really good things happening there. And I think the best way to know that that's true is to see it. And I've spent numerous days at the school, we invited some other folks in, and we're looking at some members of the school committee finding time to visit so they could see it themselves. But there's also some good ideas that the management team as a whole had around maybe boosting some of the training and PD around really in some areas, classroom management and student engagement, navigating routines in the classroom. But there's also a lot of areas where that's not a concern. I left feedback in numerous classes over the last few weeks here because I've been in multiple times each week. Just amazed with some of the teaching and learning happening. I won't use names because I don't think that's appropriate. But there's also some spots where I've had to have conversations with folks to say, I'm curious about your approach here. Talk to me more about that. And people have been willing and I think receptive to say, I'm open to more suggestions. Would you come back? And so I've said yes, and we're looking at booking those times and do some work there. But more to come. Please give us some time to continue to do some more work there. But as I shared in my maybe mixed layers of reception prior to the break, that we have some concerns that Montello they're working on is not broken. And there's more work to do certainly, but I want to be mindful of the amazing work so many people are doing every single day. But we're going to put resources there and see how we can better support it. So I want to thank the committee for giving us some time to do more of that work. As you know, we've had some middle and high school disruptions that are being addressed. And while you all know, because you've been in hearings that go very late at times as it relates to student disciplinary hearings, I do want to say publicly that the school committee is very much holding a very firm line as it relates to violence in schools. So those hearings are ongoing, and I appreciate the support there. We've also done some shifts and enhancements with security, not things we're going to share publicly because that's kind of stuff that we like to keep close to our knowledge. But please be rest assured that we've continued to do that work, and some new things are in place currently. And we also had a conversation in our finance subcommittee meeting, but it's been ongoing about having community-based conversations, not just around budget, but also around budget, anything that people want to talk about. So we are looking for groups that might let us be on their agenda. I'll come and take whatever questions I can, provide whatever information I can. We want to share some information about the budget. We're going to work on some visuals to share. Excuse me, but to really get out with people and just say, I said in the committee, kind of let me have it. Like, what are your concerns about schools? Whole broad spectrum, but also talking about the budget and getting a visual to it so people can understand what pieces make up the bulk of that work. And my last note, excuse me, is to thank teachers for coming to work today and doing the very best they could for kids. There's a lot of very good things happening, and we're going to continue to make an effort to share those. I think sometimes we get into the problem-solving mode and we forget to share amazing things that are happening. But I had 8 teachers today who didn't have to interact with me at Montello stop me to say, I know there's messaging out there, but I got to tell you, I love my job. I love my kids, and I want you to come into my classroom. And I went into 10 others. So that's a pretty good day as far as seeing some things going on. And again, it's not perfect. There's definitely some things we want to get cleaned up, but we're going to be okay, I think.
Thank you. We'll skip agenda item number 8 because our city council rep is absent. Agenda item number 9 is updates from school committee subcommittees. Member Bowden?
Yeah, so Jake just sort of touched on it. We had a finance subcommittee meeting before this meeting started tonight. And yeah, we're basically just talking about ways to get the word about the budget out to the community before budget season actually begins, because we don't really want to go through what we went through last budget cycle. So if anyone in the public is listening and you have any ideas as far as like meetings that happen locally in our community, we touched upon religious meetings, political meetings. We're open to anything where the superintendent could come be a guest at one of these meetings just to have a discussion surrounding our schools and our budget and what that's going to look like this year, and any questions that people have. Like, he is ready to talk and answer your questions. So that's really it for finance. Right? Unless
I'll
you
just
have
add-
something.
I'll just add one thing from the previous week's meeting,
Yeah.
which is doesn't sound like the most thrilling thing, but we did get the audit report for the most recent year, which was good. So just wanted to share that. I do think I mentioned this at the time, and I do think the fact that there is not a lot of news to share is actually something worth having, them come and share that to the full committee and the public, because it's mostly good news that the finances are being managed properly according to the auditor. So anyway, so just wanted to put that out there, that we discussed that at the previous week's meeting.
Member Hurd?
Thank you. So we had our wellness subcommittee, which we met in the spring, I think was last time we met. So we hadn't met in a while. And Alyssa was there. She's our director of nutrition and transportation. And we talked a lot about lunches and what our program looks like. I had kind of been pushing Alyssa hard on what we're feeding our kids and how that is affecting their behavior and those types of things. So we did talk a lot about artificial dyes and preservatives and those types of things. And so come to find out we don't have most of the food that we serve doesn't have any artificial dyes in it at all, which is actually really good to hear. So Alyssa wanted to come, or she is going to come, I think, next meeting or the meeting after, I think. Yeah. To give a presentation on nutrition, just so the general public can hear and all of you can hear kind of what that looks like and what that entails. We did talk a little bit about, on our committee, there are some staff, teachers, admins, and a couple of concerns of theirs were treats or kind of food rewards that are being offered in our district. And I don't know if we have I forgot to ask our wellness committee if we had an actual policy on that and what that looks like. So we may need to revisit that, because I also agree, handing a child a red lolly is not our best choice, I don't think. So I think we'll have to come back to that and see, maybe that's a policy thing that needs to be looked at. But we talked about milk and buying power and all the things. So I'm excited for her to come. So if you guys have any questions about nutrition, I think you either email those to her or make a list for when she does come to present, because I know I had a lot of questions and we only had an hour. So I was like trying to sneak them all in there. So.
Have any other subcommittees met? Member Glant?
Facilities met a couple weeks ago, and the good news is about getting new doors for Montello. So it seems like we'll be getting some new doors, specifically the ones in front. There'll be new and other doors throughout the facility. So that will help, aesthetically, but also, with traffic and things like that. So that's good news.
Thank you. Anything else? Member Ames?
Well, I went to yet another curriculum planning event. This one was
a second, I guess, science curriculum planning in the high school. And I find it fascinating, all of this is very fascinating to me, but among the fascinating things is how different departments, math, English languages, social studies, elementary, high school, they are so different in their cultures internally. So I find that really interesting, but always with the kids in mind and always with good intention for the curriculum changes. But I just wanted to say that. So that continues, that's ongoing. Thank you. I think that's it. Agenda item number 11 is future agenda items. Oh, sorry, 10, community announcements. Member Eames. I did want to mention again the public library event. It's a fundraiser, so you do need to register. It's technically free, but they would love a donation. But you do need to register to go. It's on December 14th at 11 at Callahan Hall. It's called Dream Big, and you get to meet Elsa, Belle, Spider-Man, and Superwoman, and there'll be all kinds of other events as well. Thank you. Any other community events? Member Medina?
Yes, I just wanted to share with the public that December 16th will be my last school committee meeting and my last day as Ward 5 school committee representative. Due to circumstances that are out of my control, I have to move and I was not able to find anything in my ward. But I hope to continue serving as a community partner on the wellness committee and the pathways committee. So I'm going to try not to get emotional here. It's been, I've cried a lot. I feel like I was really just starting to, really step into it and understand things more. But it also gave me a reality check to what many other people are experiencing in our community with losing their housing, facing homelessness. And I had all those fears. Where am I going to go? How am I going to afford it? But I'm blessed to have a place to go to and that's safe for me and my kids. So just wanted to let everybody know.
We've appreciated having you and we're sad to see you go. I know I am.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Agenda item number 11 is future agenda items. No. Agenda item number 12 is to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter in accordance with 1 MRSA 4056A.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?